The smartphone app market is huge, with literally millions of apps available on the Google Play Store for Android and the App Store for iOS. But over the years, there have been some apps that were so controversial that they were either forbidden from being put on either of these app stores or they were removed at some point. So those are what we're going to go over today, 10 apps that were banned from either the Google Play Store or the App Store. Before we jump in though, let me tell you about today's sponsor, NordLocker. NordLocker is a really cool new piece of software for Windows and Mac that lets you easily encrypt your important files in secure file containers called lockers. You can simply drag and drop files into the lockers with the software and it automatically encrypts them using a master password you choose. But it doesn't stop there, because you can create multiple of these lockers and even share them with whoever you need, just like you would any other file, whether it's via email, Dropbox, or a messaging app. But only those you specifically grant access using the software will be able to open it, even if some hacker is able to steal it, for example. And get this, there is a free version that can encrypt up to 2 gigabytes for free, which you can get by going to nordlocker.net/TheoJoe, and if you happen to want the premium version for unlimited encryption, you can get 32% off a 1-year plan using the code TheoJoe. But in any case, 2 gigabytes is a lot, especially if you're storing important documents like finances, IDs, passwords, medical records, or sensitive notes. NordLocker is compatible with both Windows and Mac and can be easily synced using common cloud storage services like Dropbox or Google Drive for simple multi-device access. And premium accounts even have 24/7 support. So again, go to nordlocker.net/TheoJoe. The link is right in the description, and you can get that free version with 2 gigabytes of encryption, or use the code TheoJoe if you decide to go premium. And without further ado, let's get into those apps. All right, so starting off with number 1, we have the infamous I Am Rich app for iPhone. Some of you may remember this one. Back when the iOS App Store was first launched, a developer created this useless app that costed $999.99, the maximum price possible. And it literally did nothing except showed some text that said, "I am rich, I deserve it, I am good, healthy, and successful." You would think that for $1,000 it wouldn't have any spelling mistakes, but apparently they couldn't manage that. Then, just one day after its release, Apple removed the app from the store. Apparently 8 people bought the app, and Apple refunded 2 of the purchases because they were apparently accidental. Up next, this one was more recent, and it was an app called HKMap.live, which was created to track locations of police during the Hong Kong protests that started in 2019. Initially, Apple rejected the app from being allowed onto the App Store because it, quote, facilitates, enables, or encourages an activity that is not legal. However, a couple weeks later, Apple reversed its decision and did allow it onto the App Store, but about a week later, after criticism from Chinese state-owned news outlets, Apple once again removed the app, stating it was apparently being used to target police. In any case, though, the app was not removed from the Google Play Store, and there was still a version accessible through a web browser. Okay, number 3, we have an app called Talk On Radiation Detector. The name of this app is a bit deceptive because it doesn't detect anything. Its purpose was to calculate the estimated amount of electromagnetic radiation, meaning radio waves, being emitted from your phone based on cell signal. It was rejected from the iOS App Store, and notably, when the developer emailed Steve Jobs to pitch the idea, Steve himself replied, "No interest." And it's understandable to me personally. People think radiation and assume it's all dangerous like X-rays and gamma rays, without realizing literally all light and harmless radio waves are also radiation. So having an app that said people were exposed to radiation would probably scare too many people. So it's pretty understandable why they rejected it, in my opinion. All right, on to number 4, the Wikileaks app. You've probably heard about Wikileaks, and back in 2010, they created an app that was eventually removed from the App Store by Apple. The stated reason was, "We removed the Wikileaks app from the App Store because it violated our developer guidelines. Apps must comply with all local laws and may not put an individual or targeted groups in harm's way." I guess they figured some of the info Wikileaks leaked could be harmful. The thing is, the app was nothing special. It literally just showed the Wikileaks Twitter page and website with nothing especially unique about the app itself. Okay, number 5. You guys know Eminem, right? Well, around the time of the release of his album Relapse in May 2009, as part of the marketing, he apparently created an app based around the song 3 AM in which he basically goes on a violent rampage. And I could only find a single supposed screenshot of the app where it looks like he's fighting zombies or something. Anyway, the app apparently was removed from the iOS App Store pretty quickly for being too violent at the time, and I don't believe it was ever even attempted to be released on Android. All right, number 6 isn't just one app, but an entire category category of apps that's been banned by Apple, which are vaping apps. In November 2019, Apple removed 181 vaping-related apps from its App Store and has banned them going forward. According to the New York Times, the prohibition affects apps that helps people find vape stores or flavors, allows them to control their vape pens, or gain access to games, news, or social networks that promote vaping. So pretty much anything related to it at all. It was controversial because vaping itself isn't illegal, but at the time, there was a huge concern and awareness around illnesses caused by a certain ingredient used in some vapes. On to number 7, we have an app that has gone by a few names, including Drones Plus and Metadata Plus, the purpose of which was to track drone strike missions carried out by the US military. The developer initially created the app in 2012, and between then and 2014 was apparently rejected from Apple's App Store 5 times when it was finally accepted. However, after about a year, Apple then removed it from the store, and in another twist, in 2017, after several more rejections, it was accepted again under the name Metadata. But then, a short while later, it was removed yet again, apparently for good. Okay, we're up to number 8, so we got a few more. And this time we have an actually really popular indie game, The Binding of Isaac. You may have heard of it or even played it. After its successful release in 2011, the developers began working on an expanded second version of the game, which was released in 2014 on more platforms, called The Binding of Isaac Rebirth. But when it was submitted to the iOS App Store, it was rejected by Apple. The developer tweeted a screenshot of the reason, where it says, "Your app contains content or features that depicts violence and abuse, which is not allowed on the App Store." Now, if you're not familiar with the game, it's basically a cartoon horror-themed game, but it's not scary. And you play as a child named Isaac who has to fight through all sorts of grotesque monsters. It's pretty graphic, I guess, but it's all 2D graphics and super cartoony at the same time. However, about a year later, Apple did eventually allow the game onto the App Store after all. But it doesn't end there, because apparently at least one more time in 2018, it was removed again for unknown reasons and was restored. But strangely enough, as of right now, it appears to be off the App Store yet again, with some speculating that this time it could be because the developer failed to pay some fee because all of their apps were delisted, but who knows. This next one might be surprising. You know that super wildly popular game Fortnite, right? Yes, believe it or not, it is not available on the Google Play Store. The reason is Epic Games, the creator, was not happy with Google's Play Store's 30% cut of sales of apps, including in-app purchases. So Epic Games wanted a better rate, but Google refused to budge. So instead, if you want to play Fortnite on Android, you have to actually sideload the app and install it without the Play Store. It's not difficult to do, but it does require some extra steps, and you have to download the app from the Fortnite official website directly. Okay, finally, number 10, we have the Amazon App Store for Android. Yeah, did you know that there was an Amazon App Store? It's basically like the Google Play Store, but run by Amazon, and for obvious reasons, you can't install it through the Google Play Store. Firstly, because Google isn't going to just let a competing app store on their own store, and second, they wouldn't want to be responsible for all the apps that the Amazon App Store might allow you to install on the device. So similar to Fortnite, if you want to use the Amazon App Store, you have to sideload it and enable some permissions that allows it to install apps, and then you can use it just like you would the Play Store. And you can actually install apps using both. And if you were curious, unlike Android, iOS is way more locked down in this regard, and it's impossible to install any alternative app stores like you can on Android unless you jailbreak your iPhone. So there you have it. Let me know in the comments which of these apps you've heard of, and if there's any big ones that I missed. I want to again give a big thanks to NordLocker for sponsoring this video. Be sure to check the link in the description. It's nordlocker.net/TheoJoe for the free 2 GB of encryption, or for 32% off a 1-year premium plan, use the code TheoJoe. But anyway, if you guys want to keep watching, here are a couple videos I'd recommend, one talking about cool Android apps to check out, the other with iOS apps. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.